names read like a who's who of French cooking. 70 of the most famous French chefs from around the world convene in Los Angeles for a once-in-a-lifetime gastronomical event. The list of internationally renowned chefs includes Roger Verger, Daniel Bono, Michael Hutchings, and René Verdun, former Presidents Kennedy and Johnson chef at the White House. Here is André Renard, James Sly, Jean Joho, and Jacques Torres. No list would be complete without this man, Michel Richard, whose inspiration was to come true in Los Angeles, the tribute to Julia Child, the #1 exponent of French cooking in America.
Merci, Julia!
Over the next 3 days, the people who demonstrate the art of French culinary style salute the woman who brought the spirit of French cuisine to millions.
And what's wonderful here is we have people from many countries, all of whom are really French cooks, though they're not French, as I'm not myself, but I think they appreciate the beauty and carefulness and the inspiration that goes into this really wonderful art form.
Well, over the years, she certainly brought an awareness and a focus of what French cooking is and brought it into people's homes through television and through her books. So she has created a general awareness of this style of cooking and made it a little more accessible and understandable to people.
She's the best lady who brought a lot of things to the United States for food, opened a lot of awareness, and it made people possible to do something at home.
Frankly, I think she's done a terrific job of taking these nutritionists and telling them, well, you know, it's okay to eat healthy food, but it's not going to hurt us to have a nice sauce once in a while, too.
This sword is not for chopping string beans or dicing tomatoes. With one of these, you are among the select few allowed to ceremoniously open a bottle of French champagne. In this instance, Moet, a major sponsor. Michel Richard, French chef and owner of Citrus Restaurant in Los Angeles, thought of the tribute to Julia to thank her for all she has done in America to promote French cooking. This undertaking was equal to a state dinner, so Richard spoke to Moet Chandon, which was more than willing to help.
Moet is the biggest, I think the biggest sponsor of the event. One thing I love with Moet, they are the friends of the French restaurateur, or friends of any restaurateur in the world. In France, they do everything they can to help the restaurateur, even here in LA.
We are supporting all over the world the main events for French gastronomy, promoting French gastronomy, and we couldn't avoid to be part of this one, of course. So we will be serving our best cuvée for the dinner.
Other major sponsors include Air France, Hiram Walker, Valrhona Chocolate, and the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. The idea grew from one meal into a 3-day event climaxed by a cake you won't believe.
We start to work on that presentation about 3 months ago, designing and start all the painting. So André is the artist, the painter artist. He do all the painting and the coloring on the presentation. We decided to do a stove. Julia Child, she's a cook, and an old stove, the old style of stove, it's something beautiful, so we decided to do something like that.
At Citrus Restaurant on trendy Melrose Avenue, the chefs gather for a simple lunch the day before the gala. Yes, it is an assembly line, but with as much care and precision as building a fine watch. How many chefs does it take to fix lunch? 60 at this preliminary to the main event. Wouldn't it be nice to be serenaded while cooking in a hot kitchen? Julia Child wants to dispel the myth that French cooking is drudgery as her legacy for 30 years on American television, talking about the pleasures of cooking. It's time to get families together to talk, to communicate, and what better place than the kitchen?
Some people will say, oh, well, I work all day and I can't cook anything, so they buy all this processed food. I think that's very bad. You have no idea what's in it and how many chemicals are in it. And if you learn how to cook, you don't have to be fancy. It's perfect. You can get a perfectly decent, good, nice, gourmet-type dinner done in half an hour, particularly if you have everyone helping. And then the fact of appreciating good food, because it is part of the great pleasures in life. So that's what I'm hoping, that we can get people back into the kitchen.
These French chefs say Americans have been scared away from classical French and even Nouvelle cuisine by the mistaken belief that everything that tastes good must be bad for you. Their motto, everything in moderation. So just what's on the menu for Julia's dinner?
We have 1,000 pounds of veal. 1,000 pounds of veal. We have 10 kilos of truffle. I think we have 120 pounds of green beans. We have endive, Belgium endive. We have 200 pounds of Belgium endive. Chocolate, we have a ton of chocolate to make that big cake. Wine, Moët et Chandon. We have so much wine. I think we're gonna have maybe almost a bottle per person of champagne. I mean, we're gonna have lots of food tonight.
A feast like this would overwhelm one kitchen, so the chefs divided the work between the Four Seasons Hotel in Beverly Hills and the Ritz-Carlton Marina del Rey.
I know Julia likes some foie gras. I make a hot foie gras while making warm braised. When I will serve this with marinated turnips, when I make Gewürztraminer butter from Alsace.
Each of the 70 chefs prepares a specialty for the guests to taste. The canapes and some appetizers will be presented in a provincial marketplace setting assembled at the Ritz just outside the main ballroom.
We have the most spectacular chefs in this room. I mean, I didn't realize what stars these chefs are. I mean, forget it if you're in show business, nobody cares. I mean, they want the autographs of these famous chefs from around the world.
500 special guests were invited to share this feast with Julia, from friends and customers of the chefs involved in the preparation to many of the purveyors of food and drink being served. Tonight's gourmet gala features 6 courses, from an artichoke and fennel soup to foie de canard, coquille Saint-Jacques, and roasted veal loin. As the stars gather with the chefs, the kitchen of the Ritz is the focus of activity. Sauces must be ladled over each course and spices added by hand. Then the covered dish is rushed to the table so it will arrive hot. The piece de resistance is this cake, 15 feet high and 300 pounds of Valrhona chocolate. Even the utensils and characters on the cake are edible. It's time to reveal the masterpiece to Julia, the other chefs, and invited guests. She marvels at its design. For organizer Michel Richard, a dream come true. For Julia Child, an unforgettable gathering of the food clans of France.